The thing that scares me is that kissing was one of the things I did with Chris Adams some several weeks ago. And Chris told me that she had a tendency to be a hot item with the guys. Well, I'll leave this in the hands of God. Tomorrow, I'm going to bring Chris over to meet my parents for dinner at 1 p.m. tomorrow. I hope she doesn't feel embarrassed that my family knows that she was the one who left hickeys on my neck. Over and out, you know who. February 16th, 1989, Thursday night. Believe it or not, I have put my Newton writing on hold for a while due to the fact that I have discovered a way how to sculpture. A sculpture. For the past 3 days, I have been making sculptures of voluptuous nude girls. Each one is made better than the last one. It's fun sculpting. I didn't know I'd be so good at it. I think the reason why is because I took a female Barbie doll, I take a female doll like Barbie and squish it down into the soft clay, making a mold. Then I make a model from it. Maybe someday I'll be able to fire them. Hopefully the air bubbles in them won't ruin them. Anyway, yesterday I applied to become a teacher's aide again, so I'll probably be working tomorrow. Last Sunday, I brought Chris over to meet my parents. My parents and Grandma said that they liked her. Bob Case and his wife Mary T. Minert came over also, plus Patty and Dick. Dick's mother, May Darling Halls, died last Saturday. Even though May was out of it and probably better off dead, Dick was very sad and depressed during our get-together Sunday. Monday I went with Grandma to May's memorial service. May was cremated, so there wasn't a coffin. Anyway, the service, surprisingly, was actually very good. Although it was held in the Episcopal Church at St. Michael's, the minister gave a very good sermon that was pure universal salvation. The scriptures from Paul, like, "He that believeth on me, though he were dead, yet will he live," and one from Obadiah were spoken. Over and out. P.S. I was handed something from the Bank of America telling me that my taxpayer ID number is wrong. It's probably their little way to make me pay taxes. February 24th, 1989, Friday in the morning. I would be working as a teacher's aide today if I were called, but I wasn't. For the past 3 days I have worked. Anyway, I haven't been sculpturing that much due to faulty molds, so I have been writing Newton stories instead, which I'm going to put them into a book and call the latest Newton novel, Newton in the Tribulation. Perhaps the most interesting Newton novel I have ever written so far is what this one is, I think. So far, it's the only Newton novel that I have written that hasn't bored me. The novel has such title names as The Planet of the Bros, The Planet of the Geeks, Newton versus Newton, The Planet of the Beast. The stories aren't great, but since I'm using a typewriter, I'm able to go real fast and not bore myself. This Newton book has a trick ending to it, and because it does, I consider it an apocryphal Newton book. Newton versus Callisto, the novel I'll be writing after it, will be the sequel to Newton as a Man, a novel I feel is screaming for me to write a sequel. I think Newton versus Callisto will be my best Newton novel. I feel that. Oh, believe it or not, I'm also rewriting my first novel called The Horrible Newton. It is in dire need of editing and omitting and revision. When I get done with this horrible book, this horrible Newton book, it should be a third the length of what it was, what it is now. Over and out to Bruce Ramsey. Anyway, I could read them. Well, I guess I do have enough tape on here, so I'll continue on with this powerful diary. March 2nd, 1989, Thursday morning. Believe it or not, I'm not getting called to work that much. Certainly not as often as I used to. Either teacher aides are a lot more healthy now, being that this is the cold and flu season. or or they are cutting back and saving money by not calling me to work, even though someone may be absent. Yesterday, Roxanne called for Kevin, but I ended up talking to her and asked if I could videotape her. She was bored and wanted me to, so I went over to the place she is now staying at and interviewed her for about 2 hours. Anyway, I left the tape with her to let her see it, and she hasn't called me to tell me what she thought of it. She's probably embarrassed. It was an incredibly boring interview. I tried to ask her deep questions that make a good interview, but instead ended up listening to Sinatra songs and 1930 songs, and, well, it was mostly Roxanne trying to play music for me that she thought was good. Anyway, I'm hoping she'll erase over the tape I made of her, because I feel it could do more harm than good. She talked about her ex-husband, I don't know, in a bad way on the tape, and if he ever saw it, he might totally destroy her chances of ever getting back together again with him. Then, believe it or not, while I was taping her, her husband called, and she told him that I was taping an interview with her, and he talked to me and talked about duplicating it. Oh well. I think I learned my lesson. Don't videotape people who are negative towards others. That's the first lesson I should remember. Videotape, I feel, is probably more incriminating to someone than someone writing a book, like the Rushdie case, like the Salman Rushdie case. Speaking of Rushdie, oh yeah, speaking of Rushdie, I think that what the Ayatollah Khomeiniak has done is great. I really do. It shows Islam in its true intolerant and evil way. Khomeiniak has done more to hurt Islam, in my eyes, than that creepy atheist Rushdie could ever do. Over and out. Speaking of videotape, I'll tell you about the videotape later on, after I write it down, but not right now, later on. March 4th, 1989, Saturday afternoon. Well, it's finally raining a lot, thank God. Now maybe the drought is over with. Believe it or not, I called up a very old friend from my past that I knew way back in 1979, the best year of my life. Her name is Randy Caplow, and she was in my drama class. Kevin has had a crush on her for over 10 years, but never had the nerve to call her up. But since I knew her, I broke the ice by calling her for him. Anyway, she seemed very happy to hear from me, and told me that she was very excited about her rock band. They were recording an album, and they are very prolific. The name of her band is called The Magic something. Well, I forgot what it was called, but it had the word magic in it, I think. Randy Kaplow is living at home with her brother and older sister, and the three of them formed their band, like the Partridge Family. I think her mother's in on it, too. Anyway, Randy is very busy. I wished her luck with her on her band and told her that if she was ever free to give me a call so I could take her out. Over and out to Bruce Ramsey. P.S. Well, that's all I have to say, really. March 9th, 1989. Thursday night. It's still raining. Anyway, I haven't been getting called that much lately. I was just called last Tuesday to sub at my old Tahoe school. Monday, I believe it was Monday, I went to Roxanne's husband's house and taped Roxanne from 10 to 5 p.m. It was quite boring, but she and her husband, Bill Cowden seemed to enjoy it. And apparently the tape that I thought would destroy their marriage actually helped their marriage, believe it or not. The first one I did. I was shocked. Wednesday I went to Sac State and got more pictures taken of me. I bumped into Bob Case, and today I signed up for the Seabest prep class. Anyway, I really don't have anything powerful to say. Nothing to report. As far as Newton goes now, Newton is now in the tribulation helping Christians fight off walk-ins. This novel called Newton and the Tribulation is okay. I'm not sure if it's as great as I thought it would be. One thing is for sure, it's a lot better than my early Newton books. I can't believe how dull and stupid my first 4 Newton novels were. Newton's 18 Labors, I feel, was the novel Newton started becoming more interesting. But it's been a while since I last wrote it, and I might change my mind. Well, it's been a while since I last read it, and I might change my mind after I read that one, Over and Out for Ramsey. And I have been reading Newton's 18 Labors, and I'm not enjoying it. It's not a very good book after all. I really thought it was great when I first wrote it, but that was 12 years ago. No. It was 13 and a half years ago. No, 12 and a half years ago. Yeah. March 11th, 1989. Saturday afternoon. Well, spring is in the air. It's a very nice day today. A day that fights off depression well. I think spring is the best time of the year. My silkworms are hatching. I took a few hundred to Sac State just now and put them on a mulberry tree, their favorite food, but I doubt they will go to it, being that they are domesticated. I put them on the tree at CSUS to see if they could survive on it. Who knows? Maybe they can survive on their own. Anyway, I went back there later on. I guess someone came and took them off the tree. Anyway, I kept half of them, and they are hatching, but have nothing to eat. I'll get them some food tonight. Oh, I received my portraits in the mail today, and after seeing them, I have noticed that I looked a lot better at the 165 pounds, face-wise, than I do at 180 pounds. So I'm going to drop to 165 pounds, and hopefully I'll look the way I did 3.5 years ago in 1985. I think having a good-looking face is more valuable than a voluptuous body. as far as being a male is concerned. What else? I can't think of anything to say. Newton and the Tribulation, seeing the book I'm working on now, seems to be picking up, though. Next Sunday, my brother and I are going to be helping Laura and Al move. We agreed to help them move about a month ago at a Valentine's Day at Lee's. I think the party was thrown to get movers together, being that the party was held a few days after Valentine's. That very night, after the party, my brother and I went to another party at our neighbor's house. It was a potluck get-together at the house where we helped to dig a sewer pipe. Kevin made clam chowder, and it was the hit of the party. The little girl, Celine, who lives across the street, a very pretty girl, wanted seconds of my brother's clam chowder. It was the best stuff there, believe it or not. Over and out. You know what? March 12th, 1989, Sunday afternoon. I have nothing to report except I hope and pray that what I have written in my latest Newton story isn't blasphemous or sacrilegious. Near the end of the story, beneath the planet of the beast, Newton gets in a fight with a robot Jesus, a robot being controlled by the demonic Antichrist computer system. The robot spats biblical verses as it tries to kill Newton in his prison, in the prison that he's held in. I just hope and pray that what I have written isn't evil or sinful, especially sacrilegious. Please forgive me, God, if I have. The robot isn't Jesus. That's the thing. It's a false duplicate of the computerized beast system. It's made up by the computerized beast system. Over and out. March 20th, 1989, Monday afternoon. Well, I'm now writing in the darkness of a children's center, trying to keep children quiet. One kid is now screaming while I write this. Anyway, it's Easter vacation, yet I have to work. I'm not going to do this tomorrow if they call me, which is 80. Anyway, my parents are coming down today. Here's what the kid wanted me to draw. That writing that you see is what some child named Benjamin wanted me to draw. It's very difficult to write and draw now due to the fact that I'm now writing and drawing in the dark. Anyway, I feel I have something interesting to report. Sort of. Rick Nixon came over last Saturday and stayed until last night. After seeing Return of the Jedi on NBC last night, that's when he left. Anyway, yesterday at 10:30, I picked up Melanie from her apartment and took her to a Star Trek convention in West Sacramento. That was, well, not very good. It was not worth $15, so that's all I can say. One thing about it, I finally got to see Star Trek bloopers, which were not very funny. One thing I realized while I stayed there was that I'm really not much of a Star Trek fan like I used to be. That's the thing that I really noticed. I'm not a Star Trek fan. I'm not a Trekkie. I don't think I ever was. But I know I'm not now. Definitely. I think Trekkies are nerds in costumes. Star Trek stuff is D-U-L-L to me. Like Star Trek magazines, all that stuff just bores me. And conventions are just designed to rip off those Trekkies who have no meaning in their lives but to have Star Trek as a semi-religion. That's what I feel. The convention really showed me that my Star Trek days are over. Anyway, I think Melanie likes me. I showed her some affection by putting my arm around her, but that was it. I was kind of depressed at the convention. There was an incredibly pretty girl that sat in front of me who looked like a cross between Sophia Loren and Madonna. She was very curvaceous and cute. She wore glasses, but I didn't care. I was so taken with her that I gave her my name and phone number when Melanie wasn't with me. I told the beauty to call me if she ever got bored, but I doubt she'll ever call me. P.S. It is now 9 o'clock, and believe it or not, that beautiful girl named Amy Gutierrez called me tonight, but I found out that she is 17, and she told me that I looked old, so I doubt that she'll ever call me again. And she hasn't called me again since she called. From what I got from her call was that she was teasing me on the phone with her friends. She realizes that she's safe due to the fact that I don't have her phone number, and she knows she's a knockout. And I really think she just called to torment an old man. I tried to make myself sound interesting, etc., but I think I failed badly. I heard she called me, her friend say, "Boy, this guy sounds like a wimp on the phone." I guess I should have been talking sexual to her. Maybe she would have called me back. But I was being nice, as usual. Nice and boring. Oh well, it wasn't meant to be, I guess. Anyway, last Friday I took Melanie to see Hamlet at CSUS. I thought she would like it, being that it was a play with reverse sex roles where a woman plays Hamlet. Anyway, it was very hard to understand, being that the lines were said so fast, and even though it was still painfully dull. I told Melanie and her female friend that I wished I were smarter than Shakespeare wouldn't bore me so much. They said it didn't bore them, and that they liked the production. I guess they said that so I would think they were more superior than I was. I think if you want to show someone you're superior, or make them think you're superior, tell them that you like Shakespeare, and they'll fall down and worship you. But if you say you don't like it, they'll think you're stupid. But I don't care. I don't care. They think I'm stupid for not liking Shakespeare. Anyway, Jamie Jones played Hamlet. Jamie Jones is a girl from my past. Not a girlfriend, but an actress that was a fellow classmate of mine during a time in my life where I was happy, 1979. Jamie Jones was is very talented, and always seemed to speak with a British accent in the scenes she did in my class. It was kind of nostalgic seeing her again. It's been 9 years since I last saw her, just about. Jones went to L.A. to make it big, but I guess after struggling in L.A. for 8 years, she decided to come back to Sacramento and be a big fish in a little pond, as far as acting goes. Seeing Jamie Jones back in Sacramento lets me realize, once again, that it's really impossible to make it as an actor in L.A., even if you are super talented. And she's pretty. Anyway, while I was watching the production, I just started realizing more and more that Elizabethan plays bore the hell out of me. Or should I say, bore the hell into me. Maybe I was expecting too much.